Hey, hello and good evening. Munson here. Oh, I'm just looking like I've fallen down in my chair there. Let me just adjust the camera. And I feel a bit bad now. There are enough glasses behind me, but during the opening sequence there are only 2 glasses, and I only credited Gary Austin being with me. I think I need to change that for next time. Here they are, the Austins in Alvagra.
Wherever you may be in the world.
What did you think of those opening titles there, folks, apart from Linda not being on that?
Well, I wasn't ready for that, Carl. You must prepare me for these things. I'm not used to the normal, so, and I'm like...
I didn't notice his name was up there on the screen.
I haven't got my bins on.
It's the big time. You're there on the billing there. So yeah, apologies, Linda. Thank you so much. It's Munson and the Austins for what was the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Now we're broadening it out for the new year and new people to come and join us. The Good Morning Portugal Food, Wine and Good Times Club. That's the name of our group on Facebook as well. And I think we've relied on you, Gary, in these last few sessions to pick something interesting. And you've gone and done it again. You've got a Gatao in front of you there, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I've had this before. It's a safe choice for me. I've had it a few times, and it's a Verde, but not one of those Verdes that like pins you into the seat with its bitterness and its freshness. It's just it's a really likable sort of lightweight drink, a sociable sort of drink.
Yes. Okay. And Verde. Am I right in thinking that before you came to Portugal, you weren't a fan of white wine anyway? Or was it
no, I wouldn't even clean. I wouldn't clean coins in it even. It was just,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, but you've had a conversion since you've come here.
It's more than a conversion. It's almost a religious experience.
Really? Oh my word! Okay, I don't remember reading about it in the Bible, but who knows? Future.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah, it will be, won't it? Yeah, it's going to take a lot to disprove that, isn't it? Or a lot of reading anyway. So here you are, your religious conversion to not only white but Vinho Verde as well. And as you said there, some of them can be a little bit tart, can't they, on the palate? Yes. This one, not so much. You've had this before, have you? So is it a family favourite?
Yes, it is actually. It's one of my favourites.
It's fantastic.
It's a drinking, isn't it? But it comes from the Feet Result stable, so you know Feet Result.
I do. We've tried that, haven't we? We've had that back in the day.
And it's got a lot of similarities to it, to be honest. But it's just a very lovely little wine to drink.
Easy drinking.
Yeah. After 4 or 5 bottles, you just don't care, really, do you?
So true. It is easy drinking, isn't it? And it's these Vinho Verdes. This one's 9%, isn't it? Rather than your 14s or so that you tend to get with other wines. So it is very drinkable, very fresh. I was hoping that we'd be able to enjoy some late sun this wonderful afternoon here in Portugal, but it's been peeing down today. How is it in central Portugal for you?
It's had a go. It's not too bad. Dull and grey more than anything. So maybe drinking this will lift our spirits a bit. We can imagine those better days to come with summer and sunshine and days by the pool and everything.
Yeah, and that's what this is ideally suited to, right? Is a summer day and a refresher. Maybe before you start drinking the other wines of the evening. This is the starter drink, isn't it, of an evening? Very nice.
I think this would be good with if you're having a barbecue. And you know it's going to be a long afternoon. You don't want to drink too much all at once.
You don't want to quite.
This is a good one because it's light, easy to drink, and it's only 9%, so you can drink a bit more before you actually start to get a bit woozy.
Session wine, that's what it is. There you go. And as you mentioned there, it's from the stable that made Fita Azul. And that is the Borges Vinhos there. So let's have a little look around their website, shall we? Those have got to be the hills of the Douro region there, haven't they?
Either that or it's the Peak District.
Or China. 1884, then, the brothers Antonio and Francisco Sociedad dos Vinhos Borges became quickly one of Portugal's leading winemakers through a melding of tradition, age-old knowledge, commitment to the land, and passion for wine. That sounds like a good combo, doesn't it? Camões, one of the great cultural heroes of Portugal, of course, called for ingenuity and art to sing the Lusitanian's stouter breast. Ooh, who doesn't like a stout breast first thing in the morning?
It's got to be done, hasn't it?
It's ingenuity. Fine-tuned over more than 135 years, Borges creates wines that are true art forms. And there's some of them there. The estates, they understand the need to master the entire production process. Vinhos Borges, starting from the planting of the vineyard, which is why we own 4 of Portugal's leading estates in the main demarcated regions. This is interesting stuff, isn't it? Quinta de Sementes and Quinta de Ouro in the Vinho Verde region, and you'll see that, we'll show you that label because that is a DOC, the Vinho Verde region. They've got Quinta de Soleira and in the Douro region, and Quinta de São Simão de Aguilera in the Dow region. So Vinho Verde, Dow, and Douro is what they specialize in. That looks like a good day out, doesn't it? At one of their vineyards there, which you can do. Go to the website. And we're going with, I mean, they do reds, they do whites, and we're going with their Gatao. Where did you first see this, and when did you first try it, you guys?
A couple of years ago, possibly. And just because we're going to talk about this, the label, I noticed the label, it appealed to me. I thought I'd give that a try. And very nice it is.
And you did. Gatao's not making it to their gallery. They seem to be promoting some of the other wines that they do here, and they do a brandy as well as reds and whites and rosés, as you can see there on the screen. And you are going to be talking tonight. I thought it was a really smart move to talk about labels, as you mentioned there, and marketing, and some of the ways that the wine companies draw us into consuming their products. I've fallen for it tonight because I've got the round Matthias Rosé shape, haven't I? That I can make a nice table lamp out of after the show.
You do like your value for money, don't you?
I do. I might even tie it up with some raffia as well to make it a bit Chianti-esque. But that's the DOC we're looking at, isn't it? It's an official region of Portuguese wine production, Vinho Verde. That's the label to look out for. So yours is open, is it? Should I better crack on and open mine up?
We'll have a little splash. Yeah, you talk on and we'll see what comes out of the
I've got my electric opener on this.
Oh, hey.
Hear that? Oh, okay. Get me. And I'm going to pour some right away. Okay, that's going into the bowl. That's got a nice glug on it there. I've got chicken for dinner tonight. This should go quite well with a bit of chicken later, shouldn't it? Should there be any left after we've been talking?
I can't see any reason why that wouldn't be so. We've got a little bit of stuff in front of us. Got a bit of smoked salmon. I'm not a great smoked salmon lover, but Linda adores it. So I've got a bit of well, it looks like cat food, to be honest. It's
sardines.
Just in case anybody's watching and they think I'm eating cat food, it's not.
Well, it is in a way, isn't it? I mean, your cat wouldn't be unhappy with that.
No, they love it.
Yeah. And so what have we got on the nose there when we get started here?
Yeah, so good. Let's get back to the you've got that
some freshness, haven't we?
That typical Vinho Verde freshness. It's almost like limey, lemony sort of, almost an apple sort of twang to it sometimes, I think. Like a really dry sort of cider apple.
Do you know what? I'm really getting the apples. And now you say that on the first little draft of that.
And it doesn't really ever sort of go away. It's always there. And I think the trick with this one is don't have it too cold. Slightly chilled. Yeah. Okay. Don't freeze the life out of it, because sometimes you see people that got, white wine in glasses sort of frosty. Yeah. That's just going to send the acidity level way out of the range. So it's between 6 and 8 degrees, which is kind of like a chilled, cool wine. And it would just take all the flavour out. It would take all the enjoyment.
That's great. That is really great. I've not eaten much today. I had a little bit of that azeitão cheese earlier on. You know when you take the top off and you can spoon it out?
Yeah.
I had some of that, and so much of it, in fact, that Mrs. M asked me to wash my beard. And I can understand why. That's mainly what.
Go and wash your beard.
That must be horrible when that happens, right? I will take your advice again later on, before kiss her anymore today. But I haven't had a lot to eat, so we'll see if the fizz does the fizz here, and this goes to my head. But you're right on the acidity there. It's not a stinger, is it?
No.
It's not a shock to the system. I presume.
I mean, when you've had a few different Vinho Verdes, you tend to look at you think, okay, you grab the table as you start to drink it, waiting for that hit. But that never happens with this. It's just a very fresh, light, quite a tasty wine, and the bubble structure in it is lovely, isn't it? Very, very delicate little bubble structure in that.
Listen to you, Garvo. Bubble structure. We never talked about things like bubble structure in the early days, did we? Now look.
Well, you gotta move up to the next division sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not like a soda bubble. It's like a very fine, hardly bubbly, really, just barely.
Barely bubbly. Okay, we're putting the link onto the screen now. Now that I've got a bit of Dutch courage to invite anybody onto the screen who might want to join us, the link is there. If you've got questions, bring your what you're drinking tonight. Tell us about it, please. This is a fantastic question from our friends, the Global Nobles. Look at this. As new Portugal residents, what are the top 3 wineries we must first seek out? That is too hard, isn't it?
That is down to your personal choice.
Top 3 wines. Ooh.
I don't know, because it depends what you like.
Very different.
As you said, when I came here, I didn't like white wine, but now I do. So, it can change you.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, right, sorry, I have to make a comparison, right? If you were to phrase this wine as in the great ocean of wines that Portugal is, right? This is like a little cutter, a schooner that goes skipping across the waves. Now, if you have another one, and this is how different they can be, and this is what I'm going to do probably next time.
A battleship coming onto the horizon.
This is a dreadnought, right? This is an absolute dreadnought. It's a battleship of wine, completely different character. So whatever your taste is.
All right. Do you know what I'm going to not sidestep the question, but I'm going to broaden it, Global Nobles, because I would say pick 3 regions and spend a long weekend in the Douro, the Bairrada region, and the Alentejo, and make a weekend of those 3. I would say those would be my most interesting. And like Garvo says here, it's about personal taste, and that's a really good start. What have you liked that you've got from the supermarket? Go there and have some more and enjoy the landscape in which it's been made. But my 3 landscapes, I've not been to the Douro yet. I've driven through the Alentejo and absolutely love it, and I've lived in the Bairrada. But I would love to take. If anyone said take me on a wine tour, where should we go? Those would be my 3: Bairrada, Alentejo, and Douro. What about your 3, the Austins?
My natural wine drinking home is Chabal region.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right,
that one I picked up right is my type of wine. It's a total wine. You don't have to guess anything with it. It's unapologetic in the way it comes at you on the palate, right? Yeah. But it's just so sexy and enjoyable. It's an orgy of taste to me. And
to you, okay.
We personally enjoy wines from the Ermelinda.
Never had a bad one of theirs.
Winery.
Yeah.
We've enjoyed quite a few of their wines: white, rosé, red, because they have several different labels, several different price brackets. And we've never had a bad wine from that winery.
Just so long as you remember that each region can be so dramatically different in its wine.
Yeah.
And just experiment, go out there, and don't be a wine fundamentalist. Enjoy the different tastes, the grapes, where they come from, the story. It's all there. It's a wonderful mixing pot of experience.
Well said. And of course, if you go regional and you make a weekend of it, you'll get. Excuse me. It's not the wine that's done that. It's the way I drink it. You've got the Douro, Alentejo, Bairrada, and Setúbal there. Would you agree with those? Would you add anything else to that if you were to pick 3 regions? Because that's as good as we're going to be able to do tonight, isn't it?
I might change. Bairrada doesn't, for me, have a lot of notable wines, so I might change that one.
Yeah. But then again, if you think about the landscape, because that's the point here, isn't it?
Well, having said that, Cole, this comes from Bayreuth, and
yeah, that's you like them full body, don't you? Because I know
I
that.
do.
Really
I like them like I like women.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, well, so yeah, each of those each of those will be a cultural experience. It won't just, like you said, Gary. It's not. Yeah, don't be a wine purist fundamentalist. If you go to these regions, you'll be able to enjoy Portuguese culture in its broadest sense, which will be the food, the people, the wine, the landscape, and I would approach it from that point of view, because that's how Portugal does wine, isn't it? It's all about the bigger experience rather than just getting too nichey and focused on a particular glass of wine.
Wine is big here. It's part of life, and probably some of the best wines you're never going to taste because they're made locally and they don't sell them to anybody else other than the people around them.
Rest of the world is very lucky to get any Portuguese wine, frankly. Michael Whitby is here. Hello, amigos, lurking with a glass from afar. The link is there, Michael. If you do want to join us even briefly, you're very welcome to. And look, we've got the Douro Alto as a little bit of I don't know, an upgrade on just saying the Douro Alto and Alentejo and Setúbal there from the Whitbys. And I think, you're close to the Setúbal region, aren't you? And you can drive across country to the Alentejo, the Whitbys. Did you choose that part of the country on purpose for that reason? So what else do you want to say about the Gatao then?
The package.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to find the pack, the special 3-bottle pack.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me just take this off the screen and zoom into you for that.
And
what's going on there? 3 bottles of Gatao.
Yeah, you get the 2 whites and you get a rosé, which I've had as well. You know me and rosés, I like rosés. That's a little bit of rosé. Very similar character, just a bit more fruity.
Okay.
Probably not so dry. And that was just over €7 for the 3 bottles.
No way.
Yeah.
You pushed the boat out there. Okay.
Well, that's the other thing. It's incredibly good value wine.
I got this one alone, and I fell for the table lamp bottle. €3.39, I think I paid for that euros. So they're giving you 2 or 3 for the price of 2, aren't they, in the presentation pack to get you onto their rosé?
Yeah, and as we say, right, the packaging, it's attractive, isn't it? You're not going to miss that.
Well, and the price, I mean, that has been figured out in a marketing meeting, hasn't it? How to get people to try the wine.
I think so. And the packaging reflects the sort of wine that it is. You've got a lot of nice pastel colours. Very sort of, it's almost a modern looking wine, isn't it?
That packaging is modern,
trendy, modern, but it's not. This particular one comes from the early 1900s, doesn't it?
Well, that's the story, isn't it? Has a longer tradition and a love from the Portuguese and in this culture as Matias Rosé, for example, doesn't it? And some of the 8 other great brands. So this is not a newcomer, although it might look like it from that packaging. That it looks like it might be a new entrant, and they're trying to turn you onto it. This is an old wine here with some new marketing tricks, isn't it? Including your presentation pack of 3 for €7 and the Matias Rosé style bottle. They're not resting on their laurels, are they? This lot?
No, I mean it's obviously got its following and its establishment, but they'll want to bring the new kids in as well. Yeah. I have one question though.
Go on.
That spelling there, I don't know if you've noticed the obvious spelling. There's an A in it.
Yeah, Gatao instead of Gato.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Have you done the obvious and gone to translate?
What did he come up with? Something completely odd.
It came up with hunk.
Hunk. I want a hunk, please.
That's exactly what I've got. A hunk. Maybe a Gatao is a kind of a slightly proud tomcat. I mean, you wouldn't want to call a wine tomcat, would you?
No. I'm afraid of tomcat.
Cat pee on a gooseberry bush is exactly what that sounds like. So maybe it does mean tomcat. Global Nobles, coming originally from Northern California in the Napa Valley, we nerd out on the smaller family-run wineries with their great stories and small batches. We love chewy cabs and Spanish-style carvers. You're going to have fun. So I would say it's still the same advice. Go to those regions and then talk to Portuguese people at those places and in the cafes and say, like, we like it. We're here at Bacaloa or, Ermelinda, and we're checking out the big places and we're having that tour. But what else do you know of something little we can have a look at as well? And they will tell you. They will tell you. Evening, ladies and gents, from Lord Gilchrist, who's in tonight, probably sipping on a sherry as we speak. I have been enjoying lots of Alentejo Reds, lots of this past weekend. Good for you. With an emoji to match there. On the water tonight, Andrew? So far, the Portuguese wines are amazing, say the Global Nobles. Everyone is sleeping on these vintages and port. Don't get us started on these delicious ports. Hola, Gary. Hannah Linda, you look super cozy. Love the fire. And it's a real one. It's not a green screen, is it?
No. Yeah. So don't wait.
We have another question. We have another question that came in earlier. And this question is a really good one, like the three wines we would recommend that we've turned into regions as a bit of a cop-out. Hope you're all great. We're having a great weekend. That was us having a weekend away when I received this message. I was wondering if any of your wine club aficionados could help with some tips, if possible, hints and tips. We are taking a car journey with 2 UK friends at the end of the month for 4 nights. Their destination being Porto, where they will fly back and we will stay 1 more night. We like wine, craft beers, beautiful scenery, interesting architecture and music. So advice on adegas, port houses and good bars to chill out in, and places not to miss would be fantastic. We currently have no accommodation booked, nor definite plans, so open to suggestions. So there you go. That's a few days up in and near Porto. What do you think? A car journey with 2 UK friends. That's Beverly asking the question. I shall put that into the chat for further digestion by our esteemed audience here to see what you'd come up with. Have you been up to Porto? Have you done the port houses, the Austins?
Yes, it was amazing. I love Porto. I really, really, really love Porto. Its charm and its history. It's almost hypnotic, really, when you walk around there. You just feel. I half expected to see a guy come out of one of these port houses with a wooden leg and a parrot. You know, it's got that air of ancientness about it.
Porto. Yes. So there you go. We want more advice. So you've got a little bit of get by the river into the port houses by the river. That's where you went. Yeah.
Definitely down by the river.
There's so much down there. Remember the World of Wines down there, and that's almost a day in itself.
Okay. All right, Beverly, that's part of it. Go to World of Wine. You've been, have you?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? Tell us about World of Wine.
Very, very good.
Right.
Excuse me, we've got a mouthful of cat food. So
yeah, I asked you that just as you were taking a bite there because I've got nothing to eat.
Very nice, it is.
Okay, so this is the new. I think it is owned and run by is it Symingtons who have something to do with World of Wines in Porto. But it is a wine museum, a visitor attraction based on Portuguese wine. And I will give you a little tour of their website as well. Wow. Oh, I thought I'd gone to the wrong website. They're doing something for International Women's Day there. I thought, wow, it was maybe an acronym for something else. But wow, World of Wines. I will get that onto the screen before the night is out. That's we're back at Vinhos de Borges there, and their tawny port and their old white port there, and yes, 10 and 20-year-old ports. So I think that might be good for the Global Nobles too. But yeah, World of Wines. That's the something else that I will show you this evening. And they've got everything to do with wine in there, haven't they? Like the corks, the bottle openers, wine itself, and in quite a stunning location, if I recall correctly.
It's down there on the
on the quayside.
On the quayside, made of old warehouses, and the actual World of Wine itself takes you from the very basics of wine, from the beginnings, all the way through what you do with it, how wine is made, different types of wine, different regions, soils, bottles, you name it, it's all in there. And you come out and you think, wow, that was a good experience. And then there's the other things. There's a little bit about chocolate as well, isn't it? The chocolate,
chocolate.
And there's a porcelain ceramic museum there as well. So you can spend a lot of time there.
So here are the 7 museums that make up World of Wine. So we're sorting this out for you, Beverly. Definitely go by the river to the port houses. Maybe a day in the Douro, do a river cruise, and then go to World of Wine as well. Wow, Chocolate Story, Planet Cork, what's that? The Pink Palace, the Bridge Collection, Porto Across the Ages, a little bit of cultural history about Porto itself, the wine experience, which you would expect, and the Porto Fashion museum as well. That's all in one set of museums, I suppose. There, what a great day out there is chocolate and wine. That looks fantastic, and I'll put the link to that as well, so you've got that very simply. WOW.pt to find out more about that. Fantastic. Did you want to say anything more about labels and marketing and how they get us as we're walking through the supermarket?
Well, I'm just interested, from your point of view. I mean, for me, probably the more colourful label and interesting, or should I say even bizarre, attracts me. Now, I bought a couple of bottles here just to try, right? From the racking. Now that right?
Hold on. Where are you getting all these from? Have you got a wall of wine next to you there?
Well, the Daiga's just out next door to the kitchen, so I brought a few bottles in, right?
Right. Nice.
Now that is a Dow, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really kind of ring my bell very much. The title of the wine, titular, is a bit funny, I suppose, but but that was about it. But then again, some of the really seriously good wines don't have much of a label.
I bought somebody a Cartuja as a present from Evra. That is a classy looking label, isn't it? And the wine speaks for itself, I think. And then you've got those ones that look like they've got very ancient French sort of labels, haven't you, as well? I fall for those as well.
These ones, really, it's like,
let's have a look.
You get the little crest on it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
the heraldry.
Yeah. But there's also the ones that look like they were printed in the 1930s or 20s. Hand printed almost in the basement alongside the wine production, and then stuck on with glue by the owners. I love all that sort of stuff, and I'm also a little bit suspicious of it. Do you feel like you're being played a little bit when you're going up and down the wine aisle, and the extensive marketing teams and meetings have come up with things to catch your eye?
Well, when you walk up and down those shelves, all those bottles smiling at you, trying to entice you their way, it can be a bit bewildering, can't it? Really. And that's probably why I spent such a long time in the wine section. Looking at a wine now, because I know a little bit more about it, I can be a bit more discerning. So I'm not necessarily fooled by a label now. I like to have a look what it's about, where it's from, and see what it says on the back.
And we get the feeling, don't we? Sorry, Linda, go on.
I was just going to say, when looking down the wine aisle, I'm drawn to ones with animals on, birds or cows or.
Okay. Let's do a quick list then. We've got pigs, woodpeckers, kingfishers.
Kingfishers, yeah.
Donkeys, Bougainvillea.
What
cats,
else is
obviously. We've got cats tonight. I've not seen one with a dog on yet. But what I wanted to say as well about the marketing of wine in Portugal, I don't think the Portuguese would stand up for too much nonsense. They wouldn't allow a terrible wine to be turned into something that wins you over just through its marketing. I get the feeling that in Portugal, the Portuguese demand that it be a fairly decent wine in there, plus a little bit of marketing. People will do. Haters are going to hate, marketers are going to market, aren't they? So there's always going to be some shenanigans going on down as you're walking down the aisle there to attract your attention among the hundreds of bottles. But I just think the Portuguese people aren't going to put up for the emperor's new clothes, if you like, of wine. It's got to be a decent wine in there, or an okay wine at some point, or it's just not going to survive here in Portugal.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I've had maybe a couple of mediocre wines, but not really bad howlers that you sort of throw down the sink. It's all reasonably good stuff.
We have had a couple.
We had a couple, which was that one that tasted like linseed oil was a bit strange. Yeah. But I might have got that off the wrong shelf. Maybe that was a decorating.
Maybe it was just a bottle of linseed oil, maybe, that you were drinking that night.
But very few.
Ubi's here. Hola, boa tarde a todos. Hey, Ubi, how are you? Global Nobles, a message for you from Nubianet. Done a little research, and there are a few natural wine bars in Lisbon I hope to visit. I'm also in Northern California. Okay, so Northern Californians there, coming with knowing a thing or two, I think, about the wines. But I don't think you're going to be disappointed over here. Let's see if we can help Beverly with that question. Of course, 4 days around Porto. We've got the World of Wine, which Beverly is grateful for. Andy is sobering up a little bit, and Ubi's asking, any of you refined, polished, sophisticated English gentlefolk? Is that us?
Not here, no, not on my side.
We'll give it a go. Lord Gilchrist might have an answer. What, if any, correlation might exist between Portobello Road and Porto in Portugal? I don't think there's any connection, personally.
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Yeah,
Not an answer, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know what the origins of Portobello. I would guess that that's French, as in or Italian. A beautiful door, maybe. I'm not sure. Beautiful port, and I don't think. I mean, the great connection between the English and the Portuguese when it comes to Porto is the port, right? It's the Symingtons. It's those English companies who knew they were onto a good thing, came and stayed. You did a little bit of research on this, didn't you, Gary? Those companies. What do you remember of that?
Well, if you consider England's history and it's falling out with the French and the Spanish, two very major wine producers, because we couldn't get our wine from them, we had to get it from somewhere else. So our friends in Portugal provided us with a few bottles of port, Madeira. Yeah, if you've ever watched an episode of Poldark, he's always drinking Madeira. So we had to secure our wine supply from somewhere. And,
sorry, I don't watch Poldark, but is this the remake? Is this the new one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So he's swinging Madeira out the neck.
Oh, they're dropping Madeira like it was getting out of fashion. I mean, anybody comes in, they shove a glass of Madeira in the hand. So just remembering that's probably where the link came from with port, because the British and the Portuguese were a major supplier of wine because we couldn't get it because we were usually at war with somebody else. Yeah. So there's many hundreds of years of history there, and at least somebody in Europe likes us. So
I think the Navy, a mate of mine in the British Navy, said they stopped at Porto just to replenish the supplies. That relationship runs and runs, and the British have got a great fondness for port for sure. Awesome. We just left Marin, loving Lisbon and Portugal. Looks so much like Northern California and Lisbon. Close your eyes and you're in San Francisco. Yes, there is definitely that comparison, isn't there? Oh yes, but it's all of the best of San Francisco and more. We walk around at midnight and never felt safer. Oh, more welcome. I have just added Garvo. Linda, tell me about this. With all this housing crisis stuff going on, CEF and everything, there's been a little bit of a shaking of confidence, I think, among some people who want to come to Portugal. Are you familiar with this?
I don't think it's worked through to us at any great degree because we're sort of out in the middle of nowhere, central Portugal.
Yeah.
The backlash seems to come to the big cities, Lisbon, Porto. I don't know, because the old golden visa thing, like you rightly said the other day, has a very limited effect on the market. I mean, talking about the very top end of the market. So I can't see that really being a problem to the Portuguese. Yeah. But I suppose the AL license side of things is a different story. But that's got its pros and cons, hasn't it? Whichever way you look at it.
Always, I think, absolutely right, and we'll see what happens because they're all just proposals at the moment. One of the proposals I saw being written about as though it were fact was this 100-day rule. If owners of properties haven't put them into service within 100 days, they will be put into the lease system by the local city council around Portugal. That's a proposal. It's not, but the problem is with these things is that, and a lot of foreigners, would-be expats, are reading the Portugal news and the Portugal Resident and the English speaking papers and getting a bit rattled by this. So somebody said to me, could you do a survey asking people why they moved to Portugal? And I have. If you go to goodmorningportugal.com and survey, they want to know the reasons why people came to Portugal. And I'll be delighted to share those reasons to give people a little bit of a confidence boost that it is still a great place to come. Okay, please rest assured that that is the case. We are in an interesting world situation at the moment, and Portugal cannot insulate or separate itself from that. It is affected by what's going on in the world, but still, it's all relative, and it's still looking pretty good, as we're proving tonight as we drink our Vinho Verde at $3.39, or part of a €7 box promotion of the Garvo, and Linda managed to get hold of. We have someone joining us, folks. I think it sounded like he drunk too much Alentejo Red, and he may be onto the hair of the dog right now. Are you drinking it, Andy? Yes, he is. That's not right.
How are you feeling?
Excuse me.
Terribly drunk. How are you?
I'm actually on the mend. I've had either man flu or cold last week,
Oh, bless you.
which I powered through admirably, and of course, some libation has helped to help that powering through. But yeah, this weekend Saturday I spent on the sofa, under a blankie with a hot water bottle.
Oh,
And,
bless you, mate.
So I don't know how this goes. I've come to Portugal and had COVID at Christmas and now flew in February. So, or
Wasn't
March.
the plan, was it? It wasn't the plan.
Well, I mean, this is, as we all know, man flu is quite deadly serious.
It's almost fatal. Then.
Yeah, we are. So we just feel very sorry for you. Linda, not so much, but me and Garth, definitely.
Actually, it was nice to see the Austins down here in the capital. And I'm sorry I missed you on Saturday, Cole, because I was in no state.
I'm glad you didn't come and see me.
I was in no state for socialising after this week. I mean, we had Eric J and his wife stay with us as well.
Yes, yeah.
Which is great. We had a fabulous social week, and I think maybe the man flu was a run down kind of energy.
It caught up with you.
Maybe it's just something going around because there's a few people like man flued up at the moment. Jazz from Quinta Essencial.
He can't afford to have that, can he? He needs to be out there in the fields.
Well, I think like most men, we kind of power through. Matty's been ill with it as well, and there's a few people like dropping with it. So
we salute you. We
salute
our fellow males who are succumbing to the man flu. How awful that sounds.
Yes, it's a terrible, shocking state of affairs. However, I'm on the mend, and I've got the nearest thing that was open that was like decanted.
Decanted. You can take the Lord out of the UK, but you can't take lordship out of his lordliness. Decanted. What?
Decanted.
Can we see the label, or can you tell us?
Yes, you can. It's conveniently, it's right here. Ooh.
Funny that.
So this is.
You've got your Papa Figush.
Yes.
Okay, we missed that bird earlier on, didn't we? What kind of bird is that? Is it a hooper?
Golden oriole. It's an oriole. Golden oriole.
Okay.
So I actually quite like this. Normally, I prefer Alan Tage, but these Duro ones are quite nice as well.
Very good. Very good.
But it was open equally, so
yeah, it'd be rude not to drink it, right? Okay,
well, it's open. I don't want to waste a good drop, so
no. Right. So talking of San Francisco and Lisbon, I mean, it's all the best of San Francisco and more. We walk around at midnight and have never felt safer or more welcome. That's lovely, Global Nobles. Victoria is here. What are you drinking tonight, Victoria? A la bonoita todos. Raising a glass in emoji style. Anyway, evening, friends. Enjoy your wine. Gatao is a big cat, so it's a hunk of a cat. Isn't it? Or it is a tomcat, really, isn't it? The gatinho is a cat.
Yeah.
So Gatao is the big fella, the big kahuna among the cats. Never mind, I just looked it up. Sorry, Ubi, that we didn't stretch to your desire with the etymology of Portobello. What have you got for us? I looked it up, and etymology is more directly related to Portobello, Panama, and the English duking it out with the Spaniards. Not again. Okay, all right, there we go. Portobello. I love a vinho verde, says Beverly, so I'll put the Gatao on the shopping list. Never seen it. I hadn't seen it until you mentioned it, Gary. To be honest with you,
notice it everywhere now. I tell you, you'll see
it. Yeah, it's so true, so true. Never seen it so far, and I'm also a sucker for a good catchy label there. And hey, Garen from Victoria, and I felt like that in several cities in Scandinavia, nice and safe. Evening all from Pete. Frank certainly needs a few glasses after that result yesterday. Yes. Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0.
Really?
What? Yes, really. What happened, Andy? Were you watching that from the sofa?
I didn't know, but I'm not either a United or a Liverpool fan, but that's a lesson in anyone's language, isn't it?
Isn't it? 7-0. Yep.
Second.
Oh, where's he gone now? Has he gone to top up his smoke?
Meowing outside.
Oh, I see. Nubian, I hope you had have a glass in Sunny Oaken. It's been a real super fog all day in Fundão. So a bit of a foggy one in central Portugal. Message from Michael, who's watching, who's multitasking, I think. Let's put it that way. Yes, I can hear a cat. The Chileans market the same wines with different labels all over the world. That's interesting, isn't it, to do that kind of marketing test? Their wines sent to the UK have labels that look like old world French labels. So I'm not alone, am I, being a sucker for those? And the Austins, what you guys nibbling on with your wine? There was some cat food earlier on, some smoked salmon. Is that right?
Smoked salmon, yeah. Smoked salmon.
Okay.
And I have to say, the cat food really goes well with it.
Very nice.
It really sings with the Gatao.
Not really cat food.
Bit of sardine paste, right?
Look, come on, let's get a close up. But that's cat food, isn't it? If I showed you that anywhere else, you'd think that's cat food.
It's all about the presentation, Gary, and that is not all about the presentation. On that, I think I'd want that spooned out with a drizzle of olive oil and a few crusts of bread to make that, and maybe a sprig of parsley on top of there. Portuguese looking like an extra from The Last of Us. Andy, when are you in it? Oh, leave him alone. He's got man flu.
No, it's all right. Pete and Diane came down on Friday night as well to meet Eric J and Pat.
Oh, excellent.
And, as soon as they got in the place, I was the butt of it. Constant jibes about my very under par health. So but no, I am a lot better now. Like I said, so.
There's still some bugs knocking around though from what we're seeing in the chat here. For the US and Canada, they're bright modern labels. So there you go. There's some cynical marketing going on. Chilean wines changing their labels for the country into which they export their wines. Crap weather here in the Algarve. Wine is helping us get powering through there too. How long will this last? And a great day in the capital as well then, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, foggy, raining, quite hard rain at some points. We were supposed to be going to the Sete Rios today. It's our granddaughter's second birthday, the youngest one.
Yeah, brilliant.
And so we were literally left the house. We got phoned by the stepdaughter saying, don't bother. Like, the animals will be inside. There'll be no dolphin show. There's no point even going to the zoo because you won't see anything. So, so we kind of turned on our heels and came back home, and they came here. So, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But I've had a house full of screaming kids this afternoon. So
that's why the bottle of Papa Fico she's open, isn't it? And that's quite the show. Oh, look, Gary's been replaced by a cat here. Let's just zoom in for a moment.
Attacked by the cats.
Don't even think about eating my sardine pate.
Yeah, please, eyes on that.
Okay. That's why he's trying to get in. You can smell the sardine pate.
You're right.
Apparently, yeah, that dolphin show is amazing at the zoo in Lisbon there. Gary has never been troubled by the locals. Always a very popular house. And such a lovely family. The villagers here are very accepting. Cheers for that, Pete. Although, as Linda will testify, Gary's is bigger than mine. Okay. You don't have to answer that, Linda. Portugal is on, it could be incriminating to do so.
That leaves some questions open, that does.
It does, doesn't it?
Just accept it.
Yeah. Yes. It's the right answer. Portugal is on my list because of friendly people, weather my body understands, and fish, olive oil, and wine all needs covered. Yes, you can still do the survey though. It could be helpful to others wanting to make their way here. Everything gets bigger in Alvagra, of course it does. I bought a bottle of the cheapest Vinho Verde DOC from Lidl at under €2, says Beverly, just for the hell of it, and was blown away at how good it is. Wonderful Portugal wine. We went to a local adega, Quinta dos Termos. The 3 tastings were amazing, and he gave us a trial of their champagne as it was Martin's birthday. That and a short tour of the adega was €750. We bought 2 mixed cases, including 2 bottles of the sparkling, but I've been sadly disappointed with them back at our casa. Maybe it's the atmosphere then that helped create that. I mean, that does make a difference, doesn't it? The context in which you're tasting wine. You've reminded me as well, Beverly. If it's not too far off your journey, go to the Alianza Underground Museum, which wine producer is that? They own it, and it's like an Indiana Jones collection of stuff from around the world that no doubt the countries want back at some point. And their Espumant production underground, the Alianza, of course, that is the producer. Alianza. Yeah, the clue was in the name of the place. The Vinho Verde's very good. The Alianza Underground Museum, and there I was. The first time I went, I took my kids, and they thought I was a widower because I was a man out alone with my children, I think, and they took pity on me and they wanted me to have loads of wine at the end of it. Took Mrs. M second time, and they realised maybe they thought I was just trying to pull a fast one, but she took advantage of the tasting at the end of the Alianza Underground Museum. Really generous tour. I think it was €2. Just what I think they said was we had to start charging because people kept coming in and just tasting the wine and nicking stuff. So the €2, not that, I don't want to spread those sort of rumors about what goes on in Portugal, but yeah, €2, all the wine you could possibly want to taste, I think, and an amazing experience. Alianza. Oh, you've been there. Okay, all right, never mind then. Okay, should we mark this Gatao Vinho Verde? Should we give it a mark, which is what we normally do, right?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, fair comment on that.
I think you're hesitating slightly because it's that thing again, isn't it? Do we give it a good mark because we like it, or do we leave some headroom because there's going to be some better things? Is that the little bit of the conundrum here?
I am no expert on white wines because I've only really just got into them. Vinho Verde is a whole different category of Vinho Verde, but from a personal sort of taste marking, this one's going to come in pretty high for me. It's going to come, what, 4.7?
4.7 as a staple in the family cellar. Linda?
I just said 4.5.
Yeah.
Just because it is so easy to drink, and it's not acidic. I just really like it. So yeah.
Yes, part of the routine here, by the sound of it, as like a dependable wine to go to. You know what you're going to get, and you're able to share it with some sort of pride as well. I think that's one of the things here, isn't it? Once you get to know a little bit about Portuguese wines, it's lovely to share them with visitors. Look at this, Lisa's here. I thank you, Gary and Linda, for your markings there. 4.7 and 4.5. I've had both of those wines, Gatao and Papa Figos, while visiting Portugal. Good evening to you, Lisa. Lovely to see you tonight. Brought the Gatao home for my mum. Too bad she drank it right away. So that went down well with Lisa's mum there. Michael's got to go open the wine. Y'all made me hungry for tuna salad. Only fish I have on hand at the moment for Ubi. Enjoy that, mate. And guess that means I'm a bit of a sucker for the critter labels. Yes, so of course, the cat is on the... There we go. So I've still got a lot of my wine left here. Gatao is a cat, of course, a big cat, as we found out from Abel tonight. Papa Figos is the yellow Oriole. Give us a mark on that and then tell us a little bit more about that, if you will, Andrew.
Well, this is one that I was introduced to by my brother-in-law, who lives in Algarve, but he's very much a kind of I wouldn't say connoisseur, but an enjoyer of the bottled fruit. And my wife also likes wines that have kind of minimal preserves and sulfates and things like that, because she gets puffy from drinking wine that's been too much, bastardized, for want of a better word. So she can drink this, and he likes drinking this, and we've had this in Algarve. It's always pleasing. It's got a good nose.
Tell us about that nose. Come on, you can't.
But I can smell. Fortunately, this week I haven't lost my sense of smell. So very bouquet, very floral. And it's not as punchy as an Allantage red, but
really tasty.
Not too sweet, quite crisp. Very pleasant. And I think if I was out of 5 in this, it seems like quite a harsh score, but I mean, I'm quite a harsh grader anyway, as my profession kind of knows. I would give this a 4, which isn't a bad score for me out of 5. So I think if something was 4.5 to 5, it would have to be exceptional.
Okay.
But this is very good, and I think it's well worth a 4. I'm sure there's wines that I've been served before that I would have served graded a 1 or a 2, maybe even a 2.5. From various kind of places. I'm not much of a white person myself, but the Vinho Verde is something that I would like to try. But
as in what? You'd like to try this one, or you just have never tried Vinho Verde?
Because it's kind of a Portuguese thing, isn't it? The green wines. It's
yes.
These are things I've never really kind of taken a punt on, because the reds are so good.
Wow. Okay.
I know, and it's like Gary's challenge to find me a decent rosé that I might like, because typically all rosés are way too sweet or just unpleasant. So I'm still waiting for that gauntlet to be kind of.
Okay, but you're not talking about Portuguese rosés. You're talking about your experience from before.
Yeah, generalizing a bit. But like I said, I kind of know my tongue is kind of on the red scale mostly. So, but I'm open to trying things if they're good. I have tried whites in Portugal, which I've enjoyed. But I went to a winery where I tried the white there, and it was very good. But I'd still prefer the red. In fact, I bought some red from them after trying them all. So
you know what, his conversion experience just hasn't happened yet, has it, Gary?
Well, I just like you know when you try something, and the clouds part and the sun shines and the angels sing, and it's like one of those moments.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that moment with whites, or even maybe it will happen with Vinho Verde, but and also rosé. Like I haven't had that moment where it's like here's the revelation. Yeah, it's just eluded me at the moment. So
it's on its way. It's in the post, I would say, for you. And I
but
hope
we've got friends who make reds as well, and that's the problem. Like when you've got people who when you go and visit them, they're like, "Here, have this large serving to take with you of red wine," and it's really good. And I've coined the phrase "lolly juice." That's so delicious. The red wine.
I'd like to try that. Actually, it's the other way around for me. I have fallen in love with the fizz, the green, the Vinho Verde, and the Espumante here, and I have not found a red wine. I can drink it, but I've not found the lolly juice yet. So we can maybe do that favor for each other, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I did have Christmas. I got an Espumante. I hope I pronounced that right. And it was awful. So my wife used it in cooking, so I couldn't drink it. It was that horrid.
Wow. Okay. Well, you stick around because you can help us with the two questions. The two really cool questions that have come in this evening about the 4-day trip around Porto and what 3 wines you would recommend, top 3 wines, which we've generalized into 3 regions. Victoria's on a cheapie from the local mini market. Is your mini market called Moira's, or is that a wine called Moirash? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Well, it's going down well. Pete likes your scoring. Always loves your scoring, Linda. I'm always surprised how fabulous some of the cheap wines are. Would the wine be better in the summer? Carl and Linda and Gary. It would, wouldn't it? This would be a perfect, like you're saying.
Bear in mind, right? I have regraded my wine scores to reflect because we knew everything was in the 4.5 plus. And remember the price of this wine, and I've just given it a very good score. So I base my scoring on the price of the wine, whether I enjoy it or not, and what it is in its class, like a Vinho Verde. So for what it is, it's damn good value. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. And I've enjoyed it tonight. But you're right, Pete. It's not ideally suited to the climate tonight. This is a summer and spring wine, and it's a great end. Well, it's a great end to the kind of working day, isn't it? And the cares of the day as you move into the evening, as Linda said earlier on. What would you say, Andrew, with Beverly's question about 4 days up near Porto? We've talked about going to the Porto or the port wine cellars by the river. We've talked about going to Wow Wines. Have you got favourite things to do up there near Porto?
Well, that's on my to explore list. I'd love to, because I know you can hire a boat and sail up and down the Douro and park it up at the little jetties where the vineyards are, and like literally do like dock to dock tastings. I think pretty much.
No, what, you sail it yourself?
Yeah. You get on a.
What could possibly go wrong?
You rent a boat, drive it up the Douro. There's. I saw.
That's such a
I
bad
don't know if you remember a show. There was a show in the UK of this acting couple who liked canal boating, and they rented this boat on the Douro and they sailed up and down, stopping off all the wineries, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to try that because it does look amazing. Firstly, but if you get to do like tours and tastings, I think that would be a real special thing to do, a real special like breakaway or a little mini holiday.
Sounds good. You could also get a helicopter, couldn't you? I think you can do a helicopter tour of the Douro as well if you want to push the boat, not push the boat out of it, but you know what I mean. So
if you want to splash out, I guess, if you want to do it. But I mean, I don't know. I always think a helicopter makes a bit of a meal of flying. It's not as elegant as a plane, but
Yeah,
Like,
it's so exciting though.
It'll be exciting, yeah. I think, but if you're doing wine tasting and helicoptering, the two might not be a good combination, right?
Who doesn't like? Come on, who doesn't like a big chopper in the Douro region? What were you laughing about, Garvo? I saw you.
It's just when he said about going up Madeira in the boat, and the phrase "Andy has it up the Douro" came from in my mind, and it was just making me laugh.
That's the highbrow added to the evening,
yeah.
right?
He's got man flu, and all we can do.
You're just the one that's on about big choppers, so don't give me that.
So there you go, Beverly. I hope that helps. And your three favourite, we have extended it from wines to wine regions, Andy. This is the giggly moment, isn't it? It's been a long time coming tonight, but we may finish with it. Andy, this is a question from the Global Nobles. If touring, going to wineries, what are the three best wines? It's too difficult to call in Portugal, isn't it? We went with regions instead.
Yeah, I mean Douro for sure.
Yeah,
I would underline Alentejo every time.
yeah.
Oh my dear, they're some of the deliciousest reds I've ever drunk. And Algarve. And I'm gonna pull out
Hold on,
a wild card here.
Why?
Wild card. Well, our friend Lewis, who makes his own wine, basically he started off growing vines from cuttings that he liked the grapes of and the wines of, and so he's basically grown these vines and then blends the grapes and makes his own red, which is some of the nicest I've ever tried, and that's from the Algarve. Now, bear in mind, it's hot, it's dry, it's probably really good wine growing territory, and I will some point try and get you some sort of sampler of this. But it's the sort of thing, we've gone there for dinner, they've cracked open wine, and several glasses later, I've been a bit pie-eyed, and they always feed us beautifully as well. So it's a real treat whenever we go there, because we're welcomed in like family, and they sit us down and feed us and get us plastered. So
cheers to Luis, Casa Luis.
Luis and Zay, dear friends of ours in Montcarapache. It's a wild card, but I still say Algarve has a few surprises up its sleeve.
Global Nobles, I'm really sorry we couldn't just give you three good wines to try. It's impossible in Portugal.
You could probably spend the rest of your life here trying wine. That's the reality of it.
Well, I saw a travel program. I think I was in the Airbnb, and I watched telly in Airbnbs like I don't do when I'm at home. And it was the woman from MasterChef was in a great hotels of the world, and she went to a Scottish hotel where you could have a whiskey for every day of the year. It's the same for Portuguese wine, isn't it? You could have 365 different decent Portuguese wines, not all in one day, but you could do that. You could do that. That's something really special about this country, which I think is really unsung and underestimated. Victoria loving the Alentejo wines, even though she lives in the Algarve, and Abel not helping either. Sorry, Global Nobles, it's getting worse. Top regions for Portugal for wine.
I didn't even think of Madeira either. So
exactly. Get over there and have some Madeira from Madeira. The Dow comes into it there, plus the other regions we've mentioned. However, Pete still not forgiving the Douro, where he said a few Douros where me and the missus' faces have shriveled inwards like a slug who has just been salted. So not a fan of the Douro there. Good evening from Simon. Enjoy your fine wine. Evening, you fine wine lovers, popping the cork tonight. Well, good for you, mate. And Raquel is here. Granjo. Is that a recommendation or a greeting, I wonder, from Raquel there? Does anyone recognize that? A brand name?
Granjo. No, don't know that one.
Blanks there. Okay. Stubal, sweet wine in the summer from the pool, please. I have made a request last year. It's an amazing summer drink. So sweet wine of Stubal. Can I book it for May? You're all invited. Fantastic. Well, you're going to host the May tasting of sweet Stubal wine. You're on, Pete. That's perfect. I was going to say something about Granjo. I can't remember what it is now. Oh, I know what I was going to. It was the. Do you remember that when Eloise was part of the wine club, and we had orange wine from somewhere? Was that from Madeira? or from one of the islands?
I think it was. Remember, so it was might have been Madeira or.
That was incredible. Well, it could have been the Azores, couldn't it? But it was that amazing Massanita fellow who produces some incredible wines, and we tried the orange wine, which was fantastic. Yes, Pete, for sure. So a Stubal sweet wine. What is that? Is that like a Gewürztraminer? Is that what have we got?
This one. This is this. I'm going to do this one next. I've decided it's the battleship wine, as I call it. It's
so Pete's got May then, and you've got the. Are we talking about a sweet wine there then?
It is quite a sweet. Well, it's not a sweet wine.
It's fruity.
It's fruity, full-bodied, full flavour, full everything.
I think Pete's talking about an actual sweet. You know what? I'm struggling.
The
Muscatel.
Muscatel, purple Muscatel.
I think that's what Pete's talking about there. Okay, so that could be May, and you've bagged a nice full-bodied red from Stubal for April by the sound of it there.
Well, that one again, and you're going to like this. They do two versions. They do the old vine version and the Reserva, and the one is $3.29 and the other one is $3.99. But you've got to like a really strong, full flavored red for this one. So I mean, you take the top off, and you know, like when you fill your car up, you see all the fumes come out of the petrol. It's a bit like that. You've got to let it boil off a bit.
I know that. I know exactly what you're talking about, and you do have to do. You take a sniff of it. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just let that sit for a little while.
But that's nothing against the wine. It's a great wine.
No, you do have to let some of them breathe for sure, don't you? Oh yeah, there you go. Antonio. I only had to mention his name. Antonio Massanita, heartthrob. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think Frank had a Massanita wine, and he wasn't very keen on it.
Yeah, but Frank, when it comes to like winemaking heartthrobs, it's going to have to be really good for Frank to say to move out of the way, right? As the Algarve heartthrob, of course. Loving the recommendations. Thank you, everyone. We have so much to do, see, and try now. Well, that's the truth of it, isn't it? Like you said, Andy, you could spend the rest of your life, couldn't you, moseying around Portugal?
I challenge anyone to say that they've tried every winemaker's wine in Portugal, because I think you'd either need a new liver or 2 lives to do it in.
Or lying. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Sorry, Global Nobles, we weren't able to narrow it down to 3 wines, but I think we've given you a few pointers there tonight. Thank you too, as well, to the people who've taken part in the survey that I mentioned, goodmorningportugal.com/survey, your reasons for choosing Portugal. Quality of life. We've only had 2 people take part because it was only published this afternoon or early evening, but quality of life, 2 of you, security and safety, 2 of you, people and culture, 2 of you, cost of living, 1, healthcare, 1, and weather, 2 of you as well. Thank you for your kind words. I find your morning YouTube channel, Good Morning Portugal, to be informative, fun, entertaining, and a great place to make new connections and friends. Thank you very much for that. Keep those coming in the survey, and it's lovely to see those reasons why Portugal is still ranking highly as a destination. Last words then to you first, Andy. Get well soon, mate. As melhoras to you.
Muito obrigado. I also suggest, as I was having my language lesson earlier this afternoon, with a little open wine, which we were always an interesting discussion, even amongst the language learners. So it's something that if you do come to Portugal, if you're thinking of coming to Portugal, or wondering if you were going to strike up a conversation with someone in Portugal, what would it be about? This is not a bad topic to get going with, is it really? So
tell us more though. You do an online group language lesson?
Yeah, it's called Speak. It's they're done as a voluntary language lesson. So my course leader is a retired lady who's a fantastic volunteer for this organization, and this is my 3rd course, and I was being described the informality of AVA tonight. Speak languages. They're really good. I'll put this in the private chat. I don't know if I can comment. Bear with me a minute. So
you can learn German, Italian, Russian, Finnish, Dutch.
I think you want. So this evening's informal was AVE, which is in. You can use it in. I forget the thing. It's the informal. I think it's
Subjunctive passive.
yeah, it's like non first person. I forget that I've got the thing. I have to reread it because
Got to read his notes, hasn't he?
I've got to read my notes. Yeah, sorry, I was a little bit.
Too much red wine in these language lessons, I think.
Well, it's good because it kind of loosens me up. You know, the sort of British reservedness of not making a fool of yourself.
Yes.
A glass or two certainly sort of opens up the courage a little bit.
And you've got a new verb to share with people. Ave, is it?
Ave, which is like I said, it's you can use it instead of vi, which is I go. You can say, oh god, I'd have to look at the notes again. But you can use it as like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, but it's like but the thing an accent, and I'm sure like there's people screaming at the screen going, "You're an idiot." Right. I'm like, I'm still learning, people.
Okay, just make a note of Aver, and then one day you'll say, "Oh, I know what he's talking about now." Because
it's basically that. There's a conjugation, a whole bunch of things depending on like context and group.
I am looking for next time you're on. Looking forward to your full conjugation, Andrew.
Well, I'll just let me get my notes up, or you could have.
No,
honestly, wine is a good conversational starter. If you go out to a restaurant. We went out. I took Eric J out the other day quickly with Pat to a restaurant in Park de Sois. They have the menu is a half page of A4. The wine list is another 3 full pages. So it's definitely there are the kind of it's an important social pastime and lubricant. So wine's a good conversational piece. Especially if you're into wines, I'm sure there's lots of Portuguese that also enjoy their domestic produce.
And if you're being accused of being a total lush in the supermarket, you say, no, I am working on my Portuguese linguistic skills, reading all these labels in here. That's what Gary says, I think. Yeah. Cheers, Andy. Thank you so much for being here. Get well soon. Okay, take care of yourself. And lots of love to Alpha and Margarita as well. The Austins, then, last words to you as a selector of this excellent wine, which I've enjoyed greatly tonight. It's brought a nice flush to my face. And I'm going to go and eat some. Oh, you too, right? Okay. What are your last words, the Austins?
My good lady first, I think.
Just a good wine. Give it a go. I'm sure you'll like it. It's cheap enough, and you'll feel quite happy when you finished it.
As we are, I think, this evening. Garvo, thank you, Linda.
Pretty much the same sentiment. I mean, we finished the bottle, but I don't have that heavy sort of feeling after you've had red wine. You feel that sort of. My mouth's still quite fresh. I'm still quite.
So you both of you are ready to hit the club, so to speak.
No, I know about that, but.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go and have a chicken dinner. Thank you very much. It's been fantastic being with you all tonight, including our lovely, wonderful community in the chat as well, and some talk about Muscatel there. So I think that is Pete. He's all over the Muscatel from Stubal style. 2 months of Stubal then, because next month, could you hold that up for us one more time, please, Garbo? For our Pina, Alta Pina, is it? Who doesn't like a Pina?
High Pine, is that?
Hopefully, yes.
And you'll get this from Pingo Das.
From the Pingo. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you in the morning or on the first Monday when we'll be trying that. That's the next Food, Wine and Good Times Club. Oh, he's just in, and it's nothing personal, Salvation Air Force. Actually, before we go, though, you put your French dad joke in the chat of this show this morning, I think inadvertently. Let's do this, shall we? We have a French dad joke to be done in the style of Allo Allo. And I think, Carvo, Linda, Andrew, we're all fans of Allo Allo, aren't we?
Oh, very much.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Andrew, I wonder if you'll do the other part of this for me. Frappe, frappe. Over to you, Andrew.
Qui est là?
Loshki. You can do this.
Lost the key.
Oui, c'est vrai. Okay. Okay, folks, have a great evening. Thank you for being here. Bye for now. See you in the morning. Ciao, ciao.